On the news, ASU will call off strike soon, Ngige assures Nigerians. DSS warns against actions that promote ethnic intolerance. And federal government insists on 165 naira pump price, advises against panic buying. Many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. The Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, has assured that the government is doing everything within its power to ensure that striking university workers go back to the lecture rooms. Briefing journalists at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting on Wednesday, the minister assured that efforts were on to resolve the ongoing face-off between the government and ASU and other university-based unions over payment platform soon. ASU, which grounded academic activities in Nigerian universities since February 14, 2022, had insisted on the use of its own generated payment platform, the University Transparency and Accountability Solution. Details in this report. The Nigerian troops have found two former school girls who were abducted by Boko Haram 8 years ago, freeing some of the last victims of the popular 2014 Chibok abduction. The two women each carried babies on their laps as they were presented by the military on Tuesday, 8 years after members of the armed group stormed their school in the Chibok community in the northeastern Borno state. The military commander of troops in the region, Major General Christopher Musa, while speaking to newsmen, explained that the girls were found on June 12 and 14 in two different locations by the troops. Meanwhile, the girls who spoke to journalists also revealed that more than 20 more girls missing are still in Gazua camp in Sambisa Forest 8 years after being kidnapped by Boko Haram insurgents. The Senate has set Wednesday, 29th of January as the screening date for the 7 ministerial nominees forwarded to the chamber by President Muhammadu Buhari for confirmation. President of the Senate, Hamad Lawan, made this known moments before the Senate adjourned plenary. President Buhari, in a letter, had requested the Senate to confirm the nomination of 7 ministerial nominees. The nominees, when confirmed, are to replace ministers who resigned to contest the All Progressives Congress APC presidential primary election.
The screening of ministerial nominees on Wednesday next week.
The Nigerian Senate has considered a bill seeking to establish the Police Pension Board. Sponsor of the bill, Senator Elisha Ishaku, in his debate, expressed dismay at the disparities between the pension and gratuity benefits of the Nigerian police and those of their counterparts in the military. According to him, the Nigerian police, though a premier law enforcement and security agency, was left under the contributory pension scheme, unlike other security agencies who have their pension boards. The Police Pension Board Establishment Bill 2022, after scaling second reading, was referred by President of the Senate, Hamad Lawan, for the Committee on Police Affairs for further work.
Pension and gratuity benefits of the Nigerian police and her counterparts in the military shows, for example, the benefits of Deputy Superintendent of Police DSP under the current pension scheme is 2.5 million naira, and that of the Assistant Superintendent of Police ASP is 1.5 million. While the equivalent, Mr. President, of the DSP in the Army, in the Navy, in the Air Force, in the DSS are paid 12.8 million and 10.3 million respectively. Mr. President, what this shows is that while the Deputy Superintendent of Police take home a meager 2.5 million naira, his counterparts in the military and other security agencies take 12.8 million, a gap of over 10.3 million naira on the same people serving on the same rank. The broad objective of this bill, therefore, Mr. President, is to bring equality, equity, and justice in the payment of pensions between the police and our sister agencies, while boosting the morale of those still serving in the police force.
A bill for an act to establish the police pension board to handle pension matters for personnel of the force and for connected purposes 2022 second reading taken. And the bill is referred to the Committee on Police Affairs for further legislative action to report back within 4 weeks.
2 senators from Bauchi and Imo State have resigned their membership from the All Progressives Congress (APC) and the People's Democratic Party (PDP) respectively. The lawmakers are Senator Dauda Jika, representing Bauchi Central and elected on the platform of the APC, and Senator Ezenwa Francis Onyewuchi, representing Imo East Senatorial District, who was elected on the platform of the PDP. Both senators, in separate letters addressed to President of the Senate Hamalawan on Wednesday, conveyed their decision to resign their membership of the APC and PDP to join the Labour Party and the New Nigeria People's Party, respectively. Today's defection brings the number of APC senators to 66, with members of the minority parties standing at 43.
Imo East Senatorial District, Your Excellency, Mr. President, letter of defection. Letter of defection. I wish to inform Mr. President and distinguished senators of my defection from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the Labour Party, LP. This is after due consultation with my family, constituents, and supporters. This will enable me to participate fully in the movement for a new Nigeria. Accept the assurance of my highest esteem, signed, Senator Ezenwa Onyewuchi. I hereby wish to notify you of my defection from the All Progressives Congress APC to the New Nigeria People's Party, whose ideals is in line with my political aspirations. Please accept the assurances of my esteemed personal regards. Signed, Senator Haliru Dauda Jika, FNSE, Doka Jimbauchi.
As the nation braces up for the upcoming 2023 general election, the Department of State Services, DSS, has urged Nigerians to prioritize national security above individual interest. The Public Relations Officer of the service, Peter Afunaya, made the appeal during a press briefing in Abuja, where he maintained that fake news and other divisive elements that promote hate and disintegration in the country must be avoided. Afunaya thereafter pledged the continued commitment of the DSS to engage critical stakeholders in achieving peace and stability across the nation.
Living together, harmony, religious tolerance are the things that the media would begin to preach in your editorials, in your bylines, in your features, in your news. These are the things you have to give focus. Slanting news to achieve ulterior motives that may be set by persons or groups who are desirous of bringing chaos and violence to our nation is a temptation that the media must resist. As gatekeepers that you are, correspondents, reporters, photojournalists, and all of that, it is your duty to direct your platforms appropriately in transparency, pure accountability, and with a desire to promote our democracy.
I will now take the report where the Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, has assured that government is doing everything within its power to ensure that striking university workers go back to the lecture rooms. Briefing journalists at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting on Wednesday, the Minister showed that efforts were on to resolve the ongoing face-off between government and ASU and other university-based unions over payment platforms soon. ASU, which grounded academic activities in Nigerian universities since February 14, 2022, had insisted on the use of its own generated payment platform, the University Transparency and Accountability Solution. Details in this report. It's been 4 months since the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, down tools due to lingering crisis between the striking union and the federal government. While several efforts to resolve the dispute have yielded no result, the Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, has assured that efforts were underway to resolve the ongoing dispute, largely fueled by differences in payment platforms. According to Ngige, government was interested in seeing the students go back to school.
It will be resolved, and very soon. We are interested in our children going back to school. And if ASU and other unions in the university system want to comply with the labor laws of the country, the land, once I have apprehended a dispute and brought it to my table, you return to what is called status quo ante bellum. You go back from war and start teaching your students while this is work in progress. So even as they have abandoned their jobs, all of them, and the children are at home, discussions and work is still going on, is work in progress. So they should have stayed back to work while we are doing all this. So this is the situation with the ASU and other union palaver. We are not giving any preferential treatment to anybody.
The ministers also denied planning different payment platforms for all the trade unions in the nation's tertiary institutions, yet added that contrary to insinuations that the government was not engaging with Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, there have been a series of meetings between all parties, with the next one coming up on Thursday, June the 23rd.
The remuneration being looked at, if government decide to up, which they will do, which government is ready to do, if we decide to raise their packages, it will be holistically done for all the university unions because they're all in the same environment. And we know also that once you do it in the universities, the polytechnics will come. We also know that the colleges of education will come. They are all educational sector. And once you finish with the educational sector, we also know that the health system will come. So it's complex, like he said.
Also briefing journalists at the end of the FEC meeting, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, disclosed that council has approved the reimbursement of funds on the rehabilitation of 5 federal roads by the Yobe State government.
A committee, as usual, was set up to inspect the claim. They were actually found to be true. They were reviewed, and from the 20 billion they asked for, and certified 18 billion naira as refund due to Yobe State for undertaking the construction and rehabilitation of these federal roads on behalf of the federal government.
The Information Minister also added that the Council approved the revised estimated total cost for the award of contract for the rehabilitation of the Yola Hong Mobile Road to the tune of over 29.2. The Information Minister also added that Council approved the revised estimated total cost for the award of contract for the rehabilitation of the Yola Hong Mobile Road to the tune of over 29 million naira. Folashade Ogrinde, TV360 News. We'll take a break here, but still to come, at least 1,000 killed in Afghanistan earthquake. Details of this story and more right after this break.
Resilience. Look at you, still standing after adverse politics stop your electric power purchase from powering our city. Still standing after adverse politics denied our city and your government revenue allocation for years. But you diligently turned it around and made our city self-sufficient and left a legacy of urban renewal and prosperity till this day. Now you emerge tops with magnanimity and victory. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, fight for us in the spirit of resiliency to deliver Nigeria from poverty and insecurity. The indomitable economic development agent Nigeria needs now. Watch this space.
Welcome back. Here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. The Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, assured that the government is doing everything within its power to ensure that striking university workers go back to the lecture rooms. Briefing journalists at the end of a Federal Executive Council meeting on Wednesday, the minister showed that efforts were on to resolve the ongoing face-off between the government and ASU and other university-based unions over payment platform. We also told you that Nigerian troops have found two former schoolgirls who were abducted by Boko Haram 8 years ago, freeing some of the last victims of the popular 2014 Chibok abduction. The two women, each carrying babies on their laps, as they were presented by the military on Tuesday, 8 years after members of the armed group stormed their school in the Chibok community in northeastern Borno State. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin, or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. And now to COVID-19 updates. U.S. drug firm Moderna says it will build a new research and manufacturing center in the United Kingdom to develop vaccines against new COVID variants and viruses. However, production is likely to commence in the year 2025. This comes as the UK made a commitment to buy Moderna's vaccines for the next decade. Moderna's COVID-19 vaccines, which have been used in the UK, use a new technology called mRNA, which uses bits of genetic mode to cause an immune response by presenting the body with instructions to build immunity to a virus. The number of COVID-19 cases in Scotland has increased by more than 30% in the last week. According to new figures, latest data from Public Health Scotland reveals that there were 15,541 reported cases in the week ending 19th of June. A leading academic had last week warned that two new Omicron variants, BA4 and BA5, are behind the increase in cases. Meanwhile, another strain which spreads rapidly in the US appears to be rising faster in Scotland than the rest of the UK. I will take a break now, return with more stories in business. To stay with us. Welcome back. Up next is Business News with Simisola Adigun. Over to you, Simi.
Thank you, Folashade. Welcome to Business. The federal government has said the fixed pump price of premium motor spirits (PMS) remains 165 naira per litre, as stipulated in the petroleum product pricing template. The government also advised Nigerians against panic buying of PMS, also known as petrol, saying that the country currently has over 2 million litres of PMS in various depots. Reacting to the fuel scarcity that has surfaced in different states, Gwebo Okoha, the Executive Director of Distribution Systems of the NMDPRA, maintained that petrol was a regulated product and urged marketers to comply with the pricing template. Okoha said the conflict between Russia and Ukraine had led to an increment in the cost of automotive gas oil, which was a critical product used in transporting petroleum products from the depots to the retail outlets.
Today we have about 2 billion liters, of PMS in country, about 34 days sufficiency. So there is sufficient petrol in the country, and then we're working with all our, the entire stakeholders, players in the downstream sector, to ensure that these products, get to distribution channel, and also the stations and Nigerians, will continue to enjoy free flow of petroleum products. Lagos, also we know that there's some challenge, but all that, will clear, very shortly, with all the apparatuses, put in place, for the supply chain, availability.
What we try to do is to support our marketers, our transporters, with some kind of palliative because of the global energy crisis arising out of the crisis in Ukraine and Russia. So what we try to do, the little AGO that we have, to move our PMS to their desired outlets, we ensure that NMPC, government through NMPC, which the GMD has graciously approved, we go to get this AGO at a higher premium to ensure that we support these transporters.
We'll take a short break here and be back with stock market reports. The Nigerian equities market on Wednesday witnessed another 153 billion naira increase in gains, landing it in the bullish territory. A session of bargain hunting, especially in Presco PLC, pushed the nation's performance indicators, that's the all-share index and the market cap, to 51,377 basis points and 27.7 trillion naira respectively. From 108 investors, 18 gainers and 16 losers emerged. The highest selling shares, Presco PLC and LLX PLC, lead the gainers to with the counter 187 naira for Kobo. Leading the losers group, we have Northern Nigeria Flour Mills and John Holt PLC emerging last, both losing 10 naira 19 Kobo. Equities traders exchanged 229 million volume of shares valued at 3.196 billion naira in 4,536 deals. Global stock markets hit the reds on Wednesday as the persistent worries about rising interest rates and recessions struck again. So we see UK's FTSE, US Dow Jones and Japan's Nikkei in the red at 0.88%, 0.020% and 0.37% respectively. Meanwhile, investors are continuing to assess how worried they need to be about central banks potentially pushing the world economy into recession as they attempt to curb red-hot inflation with interest rate increases. That's all on Stock Market Report. Back to you, Folashade.
Well, many thanks, Simi, and it's definitely an opposite of what the reporters saw on the global stocks. But thank you very much, Simisola, for that update. Now, on the foreign scene, at least 1,000 persons have been reported dead following an earthquake in Afghanistan on Wednesday. The death toll climbed steadily all day as news of casualties filtered in from hard-to-reach areas in the mountains. The magnitude 5.0 tremor in the early hours of Wednesday flattened hundreds of homes in the southeastern provinces of Paktika and Khost. This is the deadliest earthquake Afghanistan has experienced in about 20 years. And in sports, Bayern Munich have completed a signing of Sadio Mane from Liverpool in a deal worth up to 35 million euros. FC Bayern president, who disclosed this on Wednesday, says Sadio Mane will increase the attractiveness of the Bundesliga as a whole. Bayern will pay Liverpool an initial 27.5 million euros with a further 5 million euros based on appearances and another 2.5 million euros based on individual and team achievements, and the contract will last until 2025. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Fola Shadi. Green Day. Bye for now.